Okay, so welcome everyone. So this is our BIM and IT for Revit practical. So although 2022 version is already available, but I'm still using the 2021. It shouldn't bear any differences between the model. But if you're using a very old model, which I don't think you guys would have downloaded, then I don't. There shouldn't be any problem. Okay. For this first session, we will be talking. I'll be talking more on the fundamental of bit lah, on what is beam, and then what is a model, what is a family, and then how the interface is all like. So today we don't really cover much on what modeling is all about. So by right, if you are on the 2021 or if you have the latest one, 2020, then shouldn't be much problem lah. The interface doesn't really change a lot, so it should be about the same. So you should be able to follow lah, everything that I'm doing. Okay, so if you look at my screen here, so I'll give proper time lah for you guys to click and follow my instruction, my steps. So for now, if you look at it, Revit is actually part of a BIM software. So meaning, uh, Revit is not only the software available for collaboration. So when you talk about construction industry, we actually have a lot of parties, and Revit is just one of the software available for everyone to collaborate and put their input into a single model. So not just Revit lah, there will be other software available. Let's say for example, for the structural engineer, they will use Tekla because in Tekla they have the function to design the concrete. So here, Revit is more of a architectural usage. So it's more of a modeling. So this is what Revit is all about. It's just a platform for everyone to collaborate and put their input into in a building informationing form. Meaning everyone put their input into it, and then we will actually be able to we will actually be able to model a building very similar to in real life. So what happens during the olden days is the usage of, let's say, when we don't have this sort of concept of BIM or Revit where everyone collaborate, what happens is everyone is having their own AutoCAD model, which I think you guys are learning now lah, using AutoCAD. The problem with AutoCAD is that there's no collaborative function, meaning we cannot do clash detection, and then if we were to try to build it, as we look at the AutoCAD drawing, we will encounter a lot of clashes. So what is good about this software is more on everyone being able to put in their input into just a single model, and then this is where we can do a lot of adjustment when clashes happen. So when clashes happen, then we can try to move the parts around and see how to accommodate to better accommodate, and see who's the one responsible who can ask either the CNS or the M&E to move their equipment or the location of their structural to best fit the model. So that this way, when it comes to construction, we don't care about collision. So we don't care, we don't argue that my equipment should be this way, but we just build only. This is the idea lah, regarding building information modeling. So different software, for example Revit, they will have different function. For example, if you see here, you will see that there's actually a model here and there's actually a family here. So a model is a place where we build up the project. So if you can see here, I actually already conducted one session in the morning just now. Then it will show up here lah, your latest project. Okay, so and then if you want to open up any past project, you'll actually be able to open up any past project lah. Here there's a few sample project, which by default you should be able to have this tree lah. So this one is this is the morning today session, And then this is for my other training session lah, to learn more about to learn more in depth on different function for Revit. But in your case, for you guys, I won't be covering so in depth because we are actually quite limited in time. In terms of every session, we only got 1.5 hours. Okay, so all our models that we built will be here. So called project will be under the model tab. Let me check. I'm sharing. Okay, good. Okay, so here you notice what is this families. So these families, if you look at here, is actually component. So what it means by component, meaning we can actually rebuild component, for example, a table, a frame, or even a person, or any other stuff lah, in which we want to input into our model. Meaning once we create a family, a component, we can use it for any project that we want. So this is where the collaborative nature of Revit comes about. So we can ask input, for example, for furnitures or for a door. We can ask the input from the supplier, give us the family or the model, and then we can use it for the whole entire project. Or if you want a special chair, we can actually model out a one-to-one scale of how our building will look like with this software. So this is actually a very powerful software lah. But it comes with a cost lah. Definitely, this software is not cheap to implement in the industry. And then also, you need quite a powerful laptop lah to run it. So if you got a very good laptop, good for you lah. You guys can follow through properly. It won't lag. But if not, then you try to keep up lah. So there will be video. So maybe you can have a look back at the video later on to do the revision lah. So the notes, practical notes that's available, one problem is not so clear in terms of the direction. So for example, when we create a project, this is not done by me, this is done by Dr. Ng. So when we create a project, the problem, not the problem, one thing that is not so good about the notes will be it doesn't show you how to click here and click there, meaning you don't know where to go, how to do it. It's more of a lot of wording. There's no visual image for you to follow step by step. So this one is just a guide lah. To me, I won't be really following it 100% lah. Just to let you guys know. But just the general idea, if you follow the step by step on here, you can actually achieve what is required lah for our this course. Okay, coming back to this. So just a guide lah. All the notes there is just a guide. If you forget about it, you can have a look at my video again, or you can have a look at the practical notes lah. Maybe if you want to do further, you can try it out yourself. But it's not so simple lah. Or maybe it's simple for you, then it's good lah. But to me, sometimes if it's the first time you do it, then everything will look very foreign to you because there's a lot of info here and there. Although the software is very smart, but there will be a lot of new stuff lah, in which you will have to practice and familiarize yourself with it. So it takes time lah. So when it comes to doing a new project, we don't look at families lah. So families is more of we are trying to build a component for us to be input into our project. So this one, maybe if you have some time, we can play around and create our own object lah. But for now, it's not really required. So here is more of like a more advanced session. Okay, so here, if we click on this new, we will have a pop-up here. So by right, you guys should be, for the new, if you guys download the new one, 2021 and 2022, it should be the same. So all of these are just a preset template, meaning essentially you can click any one. If you're architectural, you want to use construction template, it's also okay, but it's not so advisable lah. Depending on what you want to do, it's better for you to to select the correct template to use. So the only part which is we have to take care of is either the imperial or the metrics. So hopefully you guys still remember what I mentioned last time. So metrics is the SI unit, so the unit of measurement. So metrics is what we want to use because it's in meter and mm. So we don't want to use imperial lah. So because that's the old unit scale of measurement. So if you click this, then your building, if you put the value, although you cannot see it, but when you try to compute it back, when you try to check it back, or different people try to check it back, it's actually giving you in terms of feet, inch and feet, which is not something that we are using lah, unless you are working on a project overseas lah, like in US or maybe Philippines, where they are still using the old imperial scale or old SI scale, old unit scale of measurement. So here, click on this, there will be a drop bar. Let's select architectural template first. Okay, so click first on that architectural template for matrix system. So I give you a while for you to set it up. Okay, so hopefully you already clicked that. So next thing that we want to look at is there's actually two selection here, a project and a project template. So these two, they are actually the same. Just that this one, the project, we can save it. But for project template, we cannot save it, meaning we cannot overwrite the file that we create. We actually need to create, we actually need to save it on a new project. That's just the difference. For now, I don't really see how I can use it because I'm just teaching. So what we do is we always create a new project and we just click OK. Then it for you guys it will take a while to load lah. So please press it and then come back to me lah. Give you a while to click it. Okay, so once you click it, maybe you are still loading, but let me explain the few things. So when we look at the software, there's actually a lot of information available. So if you look at the top here, as you're loading, so have a look at it as I explain what is the toolbar on the top. So this one, we actually call it as a ribbon tab. This is where it contains most of our component. So for architecture, we can build the wall, the window, the door. It's very smart lah. So then we can have our grid line here. And then we have our structural component here on top. Steel, precast, and then there's many more lah. You can even analyze or do a lot of space planning. So for now, let's look at the other parts. So here, if we look towards here on the left, maybe your arrangement is different lah from mine. So we have a property here. So whenever we put in a component, let's say for example, we put a wall into our into here, our drawing space, and if you were to click onto it, then our properties of the wall will be shown on this left panel. Or not sure lah, where your panel is. It will show it here. So whatever component you have, you can look towards this tab and it will show you the properties of the component. So this is one of the two important view lah, the property. The second one here, this is the project browser. So this is important lah. So whenever we want to build something, we need to make sure that we are in the correct view. So for now, we have level 1, level 2, and site. So this is pre-built lah. When we select a new we select a new layout, and then we have a ceiling plan 1, 2, and then we even have elevation. So east, north, south, west. So this elevation is shown by this point. So north, south, and west and east. So if you were to click onto north, then we will go and our view will be from here, and then we'll be we are looking from our model from here to here. Let's say, for example, we have a model. If you were to click north, then our viewpoint, instead of at level 1, we will move to here. So how can we identify which view we are on? We can see it from here, level 1. So if you were to select more and more, or open more and more tab, then it will showcase in here. So let me show you an example. Let's say I double click on level 2. Then you see I will have a tab here on top, level 2. So level 1, level 2. And also it will be highlighted here. Ah. Then because my model, my here is empty, so that's why it's showing nothing lah. So for example, if I open the north, then I will have a view from the north. So for architectural template, they already pre-built for us level 1, level 2, and they provide us with two grid line. This is elevation level grid line. So by right, uh, for me, my basics is a civil. So by right, when I want to build something, we will want to predetermine our area first. So that's why I will go back to level 1, and then we want to do a grid. Okay. So to do a grid, so all of these are all different view lah. If you open a lot of view, then if your computer is not good enough or not powerful enough, then your software will be very laggy. So this one, I experienced it before lah. Then I changed to a new laptop. Then yeah, I'm able to do it faster. But for you guys, if your computer isn't so good, then no choice, you have to wait for a while. But I will try to give enough time for you guys after I talk about it, for you guys to do it, and then we'll proceed to the next steps. Okay. Okay, so first off, let's have a look at this slide. So we can create a project, and then here, as it mentions, we use a metric system. So this one is using a old Revit version. So there will be a slight difference in terms of how we will proceed. Uh, okay, then next we can save. So to save this project is very straightforward. We can go to File, and then we can we can scroll down to here, and we can save. So we can save the template, no, the project. Either that, you can click on this top button. So because this is a new project, if I click save, it will give me a pop-up asking me to give it a name and the location where it wants to save. So to make it easier, because you don't want to put in document where it's inside a lot of pathway, you can just put it at desktop. So you click on desktop, and then you can give it a name as we like. Practical session, let's say 2, 1, A. Okay, practical session A. Any name you like lah. So not necessary to be the same with mine. So because I already have one, so you notice that here there's actually a few backup file. So this is in case you want to revert back to your previous folder or something mess up, then you can remove away the wording, remove this, and you can have some backup file for you to refer back. So how can we determine this number of file? We can actually determine the number of backup file available if we go to the option here, we click on it, and then you can have the maximum amount of how many backup file you want. So it's not good to have too many. Let's just limit it to 3, and we click OK, and we just save it, and we will have a file outside our desktop. Okay, so you see that this is my file lah, which is here. Change to blue. So this is my file here that I newly created and saved. Okay, you can try and save it first, and then we'll proceed to the next one. Okay, so let's continue. So in a case where, let's say, for example, I close all my tab lah, so that my laptop won't be so heavy. So whenever you want, you can always open back a view lah. So you can open back here, then you can close here. If you close everything, a blank screen, then you can, okay, it's not a good thing. So you shouldn't close all the view. So, okay, here, if your file is not open, then there's a plus sign here which you can open and expand all the levels. Okay, so by default lah, you guys should have all this in place lah, because you select the architectural. So this one should be built for you guys. So sometimes, this is not in your notes lah. Sometimes you guys might accidentally click, let's say for example, you accidentally click here, close, and this close, and you end up with something like this. Or even everything is empty. So this, don't panic lah. When it comes to software, don't panic. So for this, if this is missing, try to look back towards your top here, the top ribbon tab here, and you just click on this button, and you should be able to get back all your component on top. Okay, so what about the project and the project view just now? So you can actually get it back easily by right clicking on our drawing area here. This is our drawing area, and then we click on this properties. You get back your this properties. So I repeat that again. You right click on your drawing area, and you click on this, the lowest one, properties. You get back your this property tab. So this is very important, this property tab. What about your project view? So your project view is another thing which is very, very important, because this will allow you to shuffle through different level and different view. So to get back your project view, right click, you go to browser, and you click this project browser. You'll be able to get back your this project browser. So I repeat again, right click, you go to here, you have your browser, and you click this, you have back your project browser. So for my layout, I like to have my properties on the left and my project browser on the right. Okay, so maybe you guys can have a click and see lah. On the properties and the project browser, I give you about 1 minute like that to play around, 1 to 2 minutes to play around with this. So next time, if you accidentally click on all this, no need to panic lah. This is the way to get it back. You right click on the area, your properties, this is already displayed, so it's a tick here. And then the browser, this is already a tick here. You'll be able to find it here. This is not available in your notes. So this is what I have experienced when I conduct the session live in the lab, where people click and then they cause all the toolbar and and the view to disappear lah. So you can find it back using by using right click, and you can have back your view tab by clicking on it again. Okay, so maybe you guys can try to click on it, see you have any problem or not. Give you like a 2 minute like that. Okay, so let's continue. So to me lah, I as I mentioned, if were to build a wall like this, it's actually okay also. But then again, it's not so good lah because we do not set our boundaries. So this is why I would like to start off with a grid. So if you notice, to do a grid, we go to our architectural, we click on it, and then it will showcase a lot of this component which we can build. Then what we look towards is this here, data. So uh, because of our viewpoint, which is level one, you'll notice that this level is grayed up because we're actually looking at the project from the top view. So we are looking at level one from the top to the bottom. So we are looking it from the top lah, the top view. So because the top view, we are not able to see the elevation, meaning we are not able to see how high the building is. We cannot see like this is level 1, level 2. Level 1 is only at 4 meter. Level 2 is at 8 meter. Then this is grayed out lah. The software will not allow you to put elevation. So we will come to that later after we set up the grid. So to set up the grid, we go towards the architectural, go to the datum, we click the grid, and then it will move us towards the grid creation mode. So there's different method of drawing, but for now let us select this first because we are first building up the grid line. So to build the grid line is actually pretty simple in terms of us just clicking from bottom to the top where we want our bubbles to be at. So we click 1 and 2, and then it will create a grid line which we will have 1. So then let's see, if you will want to create a second one, this is where this software is smart lah. So it will automatically name this a 2. So for example, I click another one, it will be a 3, and then it will click another one, it will be a 4. So this one, you guys don't have to follow 100% lah. Just put as wide as you like lah. So maybe about 3 to 4 meter is good enough lah. So let's create about 6. Okay, so create about 6. Give you guys a while to create about 6. Let's say about until 4:09. I'll give you 1 minute to do it. You should end up with something like this. So just click 1 and 2, and then you will have one grid line. Try it out. Okay, so next, to do the same, because this is only vertical, we need a horizontal so that we know where's our boundary to complete our boundary lah. So what we can do, typically we go from left to right and we can have our circle. Then you notice lah, one thing, it's not good. So good practice, we want to rename our horizontal and vertical with different name. So we don't want it to be stuck with 7. So we can click on this and we can change the numbering to a letter A. So you change it to here, and then we go back to make more grid line. So to make more grid line, we go to our architectural tab, we go to datum, we click the grid, and then we are actually able to create more grid line. So in Revit, is actually very smart in terms of if you look at my screen here, they actually give dotted lines. So this dotted lines is actually showing you that the point that you're gonna click is gonna be aligned to the previous grid line that you do. And then you can move it up and down. It will showcase you the dimension, meaning how far away you want it to be. So let's say, for example, up to you lah. Don't have to be accurate. Follow me 100%. You just click on it, and then here you click one and two, and you'll get your grid line for another one. So you notice here, you have once we change this to from number 7 to A, you notice that the next one, the number that we do, it becomes a B. So the software is smart lah in terms of it's gonna do that for you. Okay, so then we can continue and make another, let's say until a few more, A B C D E, and let's say another one, last one, F. So 6 horizontal, 6 vertical. Okay, so whenever you finish a option, always press exit lah. So when you come to doing software, pressing the exit button is your friend lah. You press a lot of exit button to ensure that you don't create unnecessary lines or things that you do not want, so that you can exit all the mode. So give it a try and try to make something like what I have here. So I give you guys about a few minutes, 1 to 2 minutes. Okay, so let's say for example, continuing on, let's say for example, we create something that we do not want. Let's say we create an additional grid lah here, which is not required. So we can just exit everything, and we can actually click on this grid. And if you press the delete button, we actually are able to remove the component from our drawing. So give it a try. So let me repeat that again. You click the grid. Let's say, for example, you create something that you do not want. So this is not limited to grid line lah. Any component, architectural, maybe you build a wall that you don't want or a window, you can just exit the creation mode. You will know that you exit the creation mode when there's no more green bar on this top ribbon tab. And then you can click on this and you can delete it. So this is how we can remove the component lah, that we do not want on our drawing sheet. Okay, so yeah, so this is how we can delete our component lah. So by right, when we are trying to do a software, it's best if we got a mouse lah, in which you can navigate properly. So what I mean by a mouse is having a mouse that have 3 buttons. So this way, you move left, you move right, it will be easier lah in terms of trying to. If you see me on my screen, I'm moving quite a lot on my drawing area. So how do I actually move? Is actually pretty simple. If you click on your middle mouse button, it will become a symbol like this. and then you can pan your view. And then with your middle mouse button, you can zoom in, you can zoom out. So it's best for you to have a mouse which got a view button where you can navigate your drawing properly. If not, there's actually a function here. This, if you click on it, it gives you a icon. So this one is a bit clumsy in terms of that. You want to use it to pan, you can use it to pan up and down, or you can use it to zoom in and out. So personally, I don't prefer using this because it's a bit clumsy. It's better for us to have a mouse with a, a, a view button where we can scroll in and out and then pan left and right at our own convenience. This is a lot faster. But if not, you can always use this, and then you can pan up and down. Yeah, this is a button here. So give it a try. Okay, so let's continue. So here, this is how we create a grid on a drawing platform. So with this grid, we actually set our boundaries. But uh, here, we notice one thing which is if, for example, you put your bubble or you click it wrong, no worries You can actually, let's say for example, you click left to right and then your bubbles, the A is here. So we can actually play around. It's highly mobile in terms of if you look at it here, there's actually a box here. If you click on it, we are able to show the bubble on the right hand side as well. So for drawing which is very very big, we might want to enable the bubble or the marking for left and right, the grid marking. This way we'll be able to, we don't have to zoom out the drawing, and then we'll be able to see all our, we will be able to see the detail of here, and then what is the component here and where is the location of this marker. So this is a function of why we can check and uncheck the bubble on the left and right. So we don't really have to, the best if you already created it in one side, then you just click on the checkbox and you can enable the bubbles. So depending on your preference, you can have it at bottom or at top. But typically if it's a small drawing, then just having it here on the left and the top is good enough. Okay, so maybe you guys have a try on it to click on the bubbles and create your bubbles yourself. Okay, so don't have to click like mine lah, no worries lah, because next week we'll uh, it's okay for us to do all of this again very quickly. So if you did not if you're not able to manage to follow, it's okay. You can have a look back at the video, and then all of this you don't have to follow 100% lah. Meaning if I put three here, 3 meter, 4 meter, if you don't follow 100%, it's okay, because we are here just to learn and not to build the exact same model for everyone. Okay, so one thing is our these bubbles, we don't know what is the dimension. It's always good to have a dimension to showcase us how big of a gap they are. So to do it, we can go to modify. So we go to modify here, and then we go towards here, measure, and then we are actually able to put a dimension between 1 and 2. So we go to modify, we go to measure here, we click it, and then we can select our grid 1 and grid 2, and then we have a third click, which is to see where to position our dimension. So you click on it, then you have our dimension. So this will be a permanent dimension lah. So the top here is a temporary dimension. Say yeah, just showcase to you quickly, just a temporary one. If you exceed it, then it will be gone. So you press escape. So I repeat it again for this measure. So you click on this, click between 2 and 3, and then on the third click, you will set where your dimension will be at. Okay, so try it out. Okay, so hopefully everyone is able to get that. So yeah, so next off, let's see. Okay, so next off, one of the very important thing when you are doing a software is making enough view for our building. So what we can do, because this pre-built template only have one, level two, that's it. So and then the elevation also east, north, south, west, which is showcased by this lah, this elevation view, meaning they are able, we only have four. So in a case where we have a very big building, where only one view is not enough to see the whole building, we can actually add more elevation, meaning we can have more view of the building. So to add more elevation, what we can do is we go towards this view tab on top, we click on elevation, and then we can put a marker. Okay, so I repeat that again. We go to view, elevation, you click on the elevation, and then when the top bar here turn green, it will show that we are actually in the creation mode for our elevation. Okay, So let's say, for example, I put it here. So this new elevation will be called, okay, so this new one that I make, by default, the software itself will give it a name. So it might be different lah in your case, but in my case here, they give it a name, elevation 1A. So if you click on it, uh, if you okay, so give it a try first. Try to put in the elevation marker. So you click the view elevation, you'll be able to create an elevation marker here. So try to build the marker. Okay, so best practice, when we create something, for example, this elevation 1A, we want to rename this. So we want to rename this elevation view lah, because this elevation 1A, we don't know what is it about. So what we can do is we can right click this elevation 1A, we can rename it to whatever name we want. Either that, because this is a very smart software, we can click and then we click it another time. We can also enter the renaming function. So maybe we can rename it as East 2. So this is now East 2. So our this new elevation marker is now East 2. So give it a try. Okay, so let's change the view, because when you are doing a building, we not necessarily we will be able to view all the details on just the plan view, which is level 1. So if we go to east, the existing one, we will actually be able to see we have created, our grid will be visible here. So this is the pre-existing lah, marker, the elevation marker that is created. What about if we go to east 2? You notice that in east 2, this is empty. So why is this empty? This is because if you go back to our elevation marker here, our floor plan 1, either you click here or you click here at the top tab here, we go back to our marker this, we click on this, you notice that we have this marker. So this is our viewing range. If you were to put it here, then we are actually not able to see our grid line. So this is why we need to move this over to the other side. Then this way, we'll be able to view if you go back to east to our elevation, oh, how come? If you move it here, go to east to, how come it's not available? Hmm. Let's change it off, put it again, and then we drag it across, then it should be here. Okay, not sure what happens. Okay, give it a try. If it's not working, sometimes you just try to delete it and then you create it again lah. So you just rename it again. You have East 2 and then you have the same view as in East and East 2. So by right, you should be seeing the same stuff lah. So give it a try. Okay, so next off, when it comes to renaming our elevation, our level, let's say for example, here, we go to our East 2. If we don't want our level 1 to be named as level 1, we can actually rename it by right clicking on it, by just double click on it, and then we can rename it to ground level. So this one, you can do it here like this. You click enter, it will change, or you can even change it on this right click, rename ground level, and then this is a this is a very smart software. Click enter, it will change from here to here, or if you change here, this portion also will change. So give it a try. So I repeat it again. If you were to, this already done. So let's say I change this to level 1. Then by right, this here, this part will also change to level 1. Okay, so try to change these two elevation towards ground level and level 1. Okay, so let's continue. So sometimes, not sometimes, most of the times, if you were to use this software, our building should be very, very big. So we need to add more levels. So how can we add more levels? Let's go back to our architectural tab. You click on this, and you'll notice that on our datum here, this the level is enabled, meaning we are actually able to put in levels only in this elevation view. So make sure always check where is our view. If you are on this elevation view, this marker will be enabled and we are actually able to add in more levels onto our this drawing area. Okay, so to add the levels is actually the same way. You click on it, you go to architectural, you go to datum, you click on level, and then the same way as you click for your grid line, then let's say for example we make it the same 4 meter. We click from left to right, and then you'll be able to see the dotted line that this is aligned. So we like things to be aligned lah. So personally, I like things to be aligned. And then because this is already level 1, the software will be smart enough to rename this new level, level 2. If you were to build a new one, then it'll be the same. Okay. So for example, this one you don't have to follow. Let me create another new one. So under architectural, we go to datum, level. So another one, up to you lah to follow this one. No worries. So let's set this, and then we align it with the dotted line. We click, and then automatically we will have our level 3. So give it a try. You click on the architectural, make sure you're on the elevation view, east, and then you go architectural. On the datum tab here, you click on this level, and then same as our grid line, click from left to right, and you'll be able to create our new level. Okay, give it a try. Okay, so hopefully you guys are able to create the same thing. So you will notice that this grid line that we have is not at a very nice position. So we can actually move it along. So if you click on any of these, maybe you click F, or if you don't want, you can click A. Then you notice that there's a lock sign here. Lock. So this is telling you that all of these, they are locked together. So if you were to move, let's say for example you click on this bubble, you move it up, then everyone will follow. So I show it again. This time I click on the F. Make sure you click on this bubble, and then you can move your grid up, and then it will be the drawing will look nicer lah. Same case with your this bottom. You can move it down, extend it, then it will look a lot nicer. Okay, give it a try. Okay, so if you come back to here, this one we can actually lock and unlock it yourself, but no point lah because we want it to be aligned. But sometimes when it comes to creation of component, let's say we have windows, we might not want the window to be at the same length, or we want it to be at the same alignment. This sort of function will also be available for us to use. So later on lah, we can see the function of it. So if, for example, I unlock it, when I were to move, if I unlock this, if I were to move it, only this further will move by itself. So the ideas are there lah, but in this case, we don't want to mess with this alignment lah, because we want it to look nice. So if you notice here, when we create the elevation, the level, it actually reflects towards our this floor plan, meaning more floor plans is created, and then also another ceiling is created for each of our level. So typically for our last level, we just rename this to roof. So we change it to roof. Then our view project browser here, this level 3 change to roof. So try it out. Okay, so let's continue. So here we actually created a few levels. So we know from ground level to our level 1, it'll be 4 meter lah, or whatever height that we determine. But by default, if we never change anything, so our level 1 should be 4 meter lah. So if you are not happy, we can actually change it here. So if we, for example, we don't want our level 2 to be 8 meter, we can actually click on this number. We can change it to 7,500, which is 7.5 meter lah. So if we click enter, it actually move down. So this is actually what we call a parametric modeling, which you will learn during your lecture session. Hopefully your lecturer will tell you about it lah. So all these functions are all so-called the smart system lah, meaning if you change one thing, then the rest of the model, they will follow the changes that you have made. So I repeat that again. You can change this height or the elevation on our drawing by just clicking on it and putting a value. You click enter on it, and then it will change the value from ground to level 2 to 7 meter. So give it a try. Okay, so now we have set up a very good foundation lah, for our building, for where we can build our building. So let's go back to our view. We go back to our ground level. Okay, so click on our ground level, go back to our view, make sure we are in the ground level view. You can either click on the project browser here, double click on it, or you can click on here, the top part. So you notice that the name, once we change something, all the entire model, you will follow that changes. So as mentioned just now, we call it a parametrics modeling, meaning whatever changes we do, it will reflect on the entire model itself. So it's a very smart software lah. Whereas if you are playing with AutoCAD, if you were to draw a line wrongly, it will just be wrong lah. So in Revit, this software is a smart software, so it will not allow you to do things that is wrong. Okay, so this here will be the final part. So to make sure you are in the ground level, so to create a wall, we go to architectural, we click on the wall, and you notice that we go into this green, the top bar will turn green. So it's telling us we are in the wall creation mode. Okay, then we actually have a lot of information here, if you see. So this is where we can set a lot of constraint to the wall, how we want to build the wall. So when we are doing a modeling, because this is like a software modeling, you want to make sure all the component that we build is by itself a separate entity. What it means is that if you were to build a wall, let's say we got a 2-story, we want to make sure this wall is only for level 1 to level 2. And then when level 2, it goes to the roof, we want it to have its own separate wall component. This is best practice. If not, it's okay also lah if you create the whole wall itself. But best practice is you create the wall level by level. This way, if you make some changes or something happen, then your wall that you have made is constrained only to that level. So we know that in east elevation, from ground to level 1 is only 4 meter. So going back to our ground level, if you click on our wall, we need to change this height to 4 meter. Or either that, or we can say this, the constraint for this wall, because we are at ground level, we click level 1. This way, this height will be automatically, the software itself will be smart enough to say the wall that you're gonna create will be from ground level to level 1, or if you want to level 2 lah. But because I only want to create up to level 1, so I just click level 1 lah. And then I click from here 1 to 6, and 6 to F, F to 1, and 1 to A. So this if okay, so why is it such function? This is because my this is enabled chain. If we didn't enable this, we will need to click the wall again, and then we need to manually do it again. So follow me, just see for now. If I didn't have this chain in place, so if I click 1 and 1, it will just end. I will not be able to create continuous wall. So this is what it means by chain. And then next, there's a lot of info. Give me a while. And then next is the location line here. So this location line, it will give us an option on where we want to place the wall. So for now, this is selected as wall center line. So our wall, when we create, will be in the middle of the line. So if you were to select other option, then the wall might be facing outside of the line or inside of the line. So this is how we can play around with the option. So give it a try. I repeat again for the wall creation for this. So to create all this wall, we click on this wall. We set it to level 1. Make sure we are at ground level because we only want to create the wall from ground to level 1. And then enable your chain so that we can build our wall continuously. We just click, click, and click. And then when we want to end the wall, there will be a pink square here, which is indicating this is our last chain. We are creating a complete square. So you click on it, the software itself will stop and tell you that you have created a square wall. So give it a try. Okay, so hopefully you guys are able to create the wall. Okay, you'll notice one thing is that this model, it actually looks very bland. So it's just lines. So if we go to our elevation view, we go towards east, you'll notice that this is very bland. We cannot see what has been created. So this is where we have the function down here. So the function down here, uh, by right, this one we just remain it as cost lah. We don't really need to care much about this. What we want to show is the visual. We want to look at the visual. Is the wall created properly? So we created a wall that's constrained towards 4 meter. If we hover our mouse over this wall, we know that this wall is here, but it's not clear. So what we do, we click on this visual style, and then we can click on shaded. Then we are able to see our wall. So again, we click on this, we click shaded, and then we are able to see our wall with colors. So this is on its elevation. If you were to go back to ground, you notice that this is still the same color. So this view, when we select the view, is just for our this one layer or one view. So we want to showcase our color for our this wall. We also need to click this again. Then we are actually able to see the color of this wall that we have. So for now, this wall is just gray color because of the wall that we pick. So this one will be the next lesson. We will talk about it on how to play around and showcase different wall. So give it a try. If we go to our east view, click on this visual style, and then you can have different type of visual effect. So bear in mind, careful. Try not to click on the realistic. So if you click on the realistic and your model is very complex, then your computer will try to draw out the model as realistic as possible. So try not to accidentally click on this because it's gonna cause your whole computer to lag. Yeah. So just click shaded. It will be more than good enough to showcase it. So try it out. Okay, so I think this is it lah for today. So the lesson. So if you're able to work this out, then it's good enough lah for today. So next session we will go more in depth lah on other component. So remember, when we click on the visual, try to just click on shaded lah, because if you click on the realistic, then your computer is going to work very very hard lah to showcase all the graphic in real scale. So save it, click save it, and then yeah, yes, this will be good enough lah for today's session. Okay, let me